Today I am going to talk a bit on zodiac signs. A lot of people ask me, Saturn is entering into Capricorn. How will it affect my life? I am in Aquarius. Mars is moving into Sagittarius. How will it affect me? I am in Aries. And I explained this to a lot of people that what they are referring to is a sun sign. And a sun sign cannot define how a particular transit will affect your life. That will have to be looked at largely from your rising sign, the ascendant, your moon sign, or the planet whose dasha you are running. It cannot be just the sun sign. Now let us take an example. What you see in newspapers across social media sites, let us take the example of Aries. Aries starts from the 22nd of March and goes on till the 21st or the 22nd of April. But if you look at the movement of the sun, it goes into a particular zodiac sign in the middle of the month. Now why the middle of the month? If you check the Panchang or the Hindi almanac, or you check the ephemeris, which is really an astronomer's handbook, the data points in the Panchang and the ephemeris will always be the same. There will be no variation. And both will show the entry of the sun into a zodiac sign in the middle of the month. It usually happens in the middle of the month between the 13th and the 17th. Why? Because the sun travels 1 degree in a day and stays in a sign for 30 days because it has to traverse 30 degrees. So 30 degrees in 30 days, and usually this ingress or this movement of the sun happens in the middle of the month, from the middle of the month to the middle of the month. So if you were born on the 5th of April, you would say you are an Aries, but I would say you are a Pisces. Now why is there this discrepancy? Let us come to that. Western astrology follows something called the tropical zodiac, and the Indian Eastern Vedic astrology follows something which is far more mature, far evolved and far astronomically aligned, a system called the Narayan system or the Sidereal Zodiac. The difference between the two, and that is what accounts for this variation, is that in the Narayan system we look at a fixed star, and in this case it is the Chitra star. Now the movement of the stars, of the fixed stars, of extrasolar objects with respect to the earth, that movement is very mild, if I were to use that word. It would approximately be 3 to 4 minutes of arc in a century. So the Narayan system follows a fixed star, in this case it is the Chitra star, and takes into account a correction called Ainamsha. Now what really is Ainamsha? Ainamsha is basically the precession of equinoxes. The Western astrology believes that 22nd of March, whatever be the circumstance, is the vernal equinox, because that is the day when the sun is exactly above the equator and therefore the day and night are equal to each other. And that is the day which coincides with the starting point of Aries or 0 degree Aries. So the vernal equinox is the point of 0 degree Aries. But this equinox is not at the same point on the ecliptic every year. It is moving westward because of a movement of the earth which is caused by the rotation of the earth on its own axis. And Ainamsha is this correction. Roughly at 50.29 seconds of arc, this is what it moves. This is what the vernal equinox moves every year. And this correction is the Ainamsha. There are many Ainamshas, but the one that we use commonly is the Lahiri Ainamsha by the famous astronomer Nirmala Chandra Lahiri. Ayn meaning movement and Amsha meaning component. This was mentioned in a 4th century astronomical shastra of India called the Surya Sidhanta. It talks about Ainamsha, it talks about the diameter of the earth, the diameter of the moon. it is a holistic Shastra. It is a very evolved Shastra. But what we hear is that Galileo spoke about a spherical earth. Surya Sidhanta postulates a spherical earth. And Wikipedia says it's 4th century, well it could be a little before that as well. Surya Sidhanta also talks about another very interesting point, and I want to share it with you here. It talks about 0 degree longitude or the Prime Meridian, and it says, Surya Sidhanta says that the meridian passed through the region of Avanti, the city of Ujjain, modern day Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh, and through Rohitika or Rohtak in Haryana. And that was taken as the standard time for India. After the British came, Madras time was decided as Indian Standard Time. Ujjain time is 29 minutes behind IST. That's just a reference point. There was a very interesting article written sometime in Outlook, Ujjain at the crossroads of time. And I'm happy somebody wrote about it. A lady called Abhinandita Mathur wrote about it. That the Jivaji Observatory at Ujjain shows Ujjain at the intersection of the Prime Meridian and the Tropic of Cancer, and therefore Ujjain was said to be at the navel of the earth. So it was really Greenwich of India. Tropic of Cancer, this imaginary line, passes through the spire of Shiva's temple of Mahakal at Ujjain, and also through the Somnath temple at Gujarat, as well as the Mangal Nath temple at Ujjain. This point where this temple of Mangal Nath is situated, where this imaginary line of Tropic of Cancer is supposed to pass, that point is where the planet Mars is supposed to be closest to the Earth. Such was the advancement in the field of astronomy in ancient India, that temples were built at points of astronomical relevance. And today we say they are of astrological relevance and people think it's superstitious. Well, think about it once more. Interestingly, Mars, the planet Mars, debilitates in the sign of Cancer or Kark. And astrologers tell people, if you have a weak Mars, please go to Mangal Nath and offer your prayers there. So there seems to be a very scientific dimension of the worship of Mars in this temple of Mangal Nath. So the next time you visit Shiva's city, Ujjaini, make sure you go to Mahakal and definitely to Mangal Nath. Because these are not just some temples, these are points of, these are vortexes, these are points of energy, points of high order consciousness. So now you know that if you're born on the 10th of April, you're a Pisces and not an Aries. If you're born on the 25th of January, you're a Capricorn, not an Aquarius. So you will realize that while the newspapers, a lot of social media sites still continue with 22nd of March to the 21st of April as one sun sign, which is basically the last week of the month that defines a sign. There is an approximate difference of 23 to 24 days in this ingress of the sun in the sign and the Narayan system. So which means that what we are reading is a sun sign prior to our sun sign. This is just sun signs. There are other planets that need to be looked at, and they need to be looked at from the perspective of the Narayan zodiac or the Sidereal Zodiac. That will give us a correct picture. Also remember that while I talk of sun signs, I must say that life on this planet cannot be divided into 12 types of destiny. It cannot be 12 sun signs. It just cannot be 12 types of people or 12 types of destiny. What you have in your chart as the natal promise is a static promise of the horoscope, because planets are placed in certain nakshatras, certain constellations at certain degrees. But what adds a dynamic touch to this horoscope is dasha. And in India, in the Eastern Vedic system of astrology, there is not one dasha that we look at. There is Vimshotri, Shodashotri, Ashtotri. There are conditional dashas like Dvisaptati, Chaturshiti, which do not apply to all horoscopes. This is the Parashari system of astrology. Then there are Gemini dashas. Let's simply say that life cannot be, that destiny cannot just be of 12 types. There are many ways of looking at the same chart. Rishi Parashar, and there is a famous compendium of work done by him called the Parashar Hora Shastra. Rishi Parashar, the grandson of Rishi Vashishta. Remember Vashishta and Arundhati in most South Indian marriages, when the vows are taken, they show you the Vashishta and the Arundhati star in the skies. Rishi Vashishta is the grandfather of Rishi Parashar. And if you read the Ramayana, you will read about Rishi Vashishta, who was the Kul Guru of the Suryavanshis. Rishi Parashar talks of Shodash Vargas, of 16 charts that are made from that one particular chart. Navamsha, Dashamsha, Chaturvimshamsha. Shodash Vargas are an essential to define and to analyze a particular horoscope alongside dashas, which are many in number, and of course transit or gochar. So astrology is a vast science, is a very, very vast science. And you will always remain a student of this particular subject. You can never say that you have mastered it all. It is such a vast science. I'll end it with that, and I hope that I've added to your repertoire of knowledge and this has helped somewhere. Thank you.